Have you ever noticed how the worst thoughts show up right at 3 a.m.? Not at 10 p.m. when you're scrolling your phone, not at noon when you're busy with work, only at that exact hour when the world is silent and you should be resting. It feels almost supernatural, like some hidden alarm clock inside your brain is programmed to sabotage you. And here's the paradox. Even people who never feel anxious during the day suddenly find their minds racing in the middle of the night. Think about it. You might fall asleep quickly, only to wake up in the dark, heart beating faster, thoughts piling up, staring at the clock that seems to laugh back at you. Doctors call it a normal sleep disruption, but let's be honest, there's nothing normal about watching time crawl while the weight of exhaustion grows heavier. But what if the problem isn't random? What if your body has been following a script all along? In this video, we'll uncover why your brain flips the switch at 3 a.m., how stress hormones, body temperature, and even your nightly routine play a role, and most importantly, what you can do to break the cycle. And no, it's not about quick fixes or miracle cures. It's about learning the science your body already knows and using it to turn restless nights into calm ones. So let's pull back the curtain on this midnight mystery and see why your brain insists on waking you when you need sleep the most. This strange pattern even has a name: the 3 a.m. enigma. In reality, it's like the brain is testing the emergency lights in the middle of the night. And if you've ever gone through early morning insomnia, you know how that test can feel like a full-blown wake-up call. It's strange, isn't it? You fall asleep just fine, only to wake up at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling like your mind suddenly decided to hold a meeting without your permission. Science has a word for this: micro-awakenings. They're brief moments when your body, driven by rising cortisol, thinks it's time to check in. Think of cortisol as the fuel pump of your body. Normally, it kicks in around dawn, helping you feel alert. But sometimes, it jumps the gun, switching on at 3 a.m. instead of 6 a.m. That's why people describe the sensation as if their engine suddenly revved up in the dark, pulling them from rest into alertness. It's not your fault, and it's not just in your head, it's biology running on autopilot. And the cruel part: the more you notice the clock glowing 3 o'clock, the louder that internal engine seems to roar. Picture this: your brain is like a smartphone that sets off an alarm no one programmed. You didn't ask for it, you didn't need it, but there it is, buzzing and flashing at 3 a.m. sharp. The system thinks it's helping, while in reality it's sabotaging your rest. That's why people who suffer from 3 a.m. wake-ups often describe it as the body betraying itself. And once the engine is on, falling back asleep becomes the next big challenge, which opens the door to something even more personal. And if science explains part of the story, the truth becomes even clearer when we look at real experiences, because I've been there too. To make it relatable, imagine sitting in a quiet theater when suddenly a spotlight shines directly on you. You weren't asking for attention, but now all eyes are on your every flaw. That's how 3 a.m. feels. It takes ordinary worries and throws them under a blinding light. I remember those nights clearly, eyes snapping open at 3 a.m., no sound, no reason, just the sudden awareness of being awake. Sometimes he'd wander to the bathroom, other times he'd lie there, watching the clock tick, as if time itself was mocking him. Anyone who has dealt with insomnia de madrugada knows this quiet battle. The room is still, but inside, the mind won't stop spinning. And the cruel irony: during the day, anxiety barely shows up, but at night it wears the crown. It's a strange phenomenon. Worries that feel small at noon suddenly look like mountains at 3 a.m. The brain magnifies everything when wrapped in darkness, as though the night has its own lens of distortion. One missed email, a small disagreement, or even tomorrow's to-do list becomes amplified, turning into reasons the mind insists on staying awake. It's not that life is unbearable, it's that nighttime anxiety knows how to sneak in through the cracks of silence. And while many can laugh about it later in the day, in the moment it feels suffocating. Yet, here's the intriguing part: science shows there may be biological reasons why this spotlight flips on at night, and it's not just about racing thoughts. And that's where science gives us a surprising clue through something as simple as body temperature. And for anyone trapped in sleepless early mornings, that gentle cooling may be the difference between tossing around and slipping back into dreamland. Most people don't realize that body temperature is one of the secret switches of sleep. When the body cools down, the brain interprets it as a green light for deeper rest. That's where glycine comes into play. Research shows that this simple amino acid can nudge the body toward a cooler state, almost like cracking open a window on a warm summer night. Think of it this way: when you're too warm, even the softest pillow feels uncomfortable. Glycine helps dial down the heat from within, creating the right conditions for REM sleep to take over. Scientists have even tracked how it reduces nighttime awakenings, smoothing the rhythm of sleep cycles. Imagine seeing it on a graph: wave patterns steadying instead of spiking, showing how the body finally gets permission to rest. It's not magic, it's physiology quietly working in your favor. A practical way to picture it is with the contrast of environments. A stuffy room where the air feels heavy makes you restless. But step into a cool, dark space, and suddenly your body sighs in relief. Glycine acts like that invisible breeze, helping you reach the same calm inside, even if the outside conditions aren't perfect. And for those stuck in the cycle of middle-of-the-night insomnia, that inner breeze might just be the reset button they didn't know existed. And while temperature plays a big role, there's another reason many of us wake up at 3 a.m. our own bladder. Studies have shown that glycine can help reduce something called nocturia, the tendency to wake up and urinate at night. It doesn't magically erase the habit, but it does create conditions for longer stretches of uninterrupted rest. Think of it as hitting the snooze button on your bladder's alarm clock, pushing the urge back toward dawn instead of midnight. That simple shift from waking at 3 a.m. to waking at 5 a.m. can mean feeling alive and clear-headed instead of foggy and irritable. For many, the story is the same. The eyes open at 2 or 3 a.m., the bladder calls, and the bed feels like it will never welcome them back the same way. It's frustrating, because what starts as a simple bathroom break often stretches into an hour of staring at the ceiling. People dealing with broken nights know this all too well. The night feels split in two, with rest on one side and restless waiting on the other. And even though it sounds like a small detail, it changes the entire quality of sleep. Imagine how different your day would look if you could glide through until morning without interruption. Waking up at sunrise instead of wrestling with insomnia de madrugada is like charging your phone to 100% instead of yanking it from the wall at 40%. The device works, but it drains so fast, your body's no different. The more uninterrupted the night, the more energy, patience, and focus you carry into the day ahead. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. Sleep interruptions aren't just about the bladder, they also tie into the brain's own fuel supply. Sleep isn't just rest, it's a nightly recharge of the brain's battery. When that battery runs low, the body sends signals that can jolt you awake. Scientists have found that these micro-awakenings are often tied to dips in ATP, the molecule that fuels every single cell. It's almost like the brain flickers the lights to check if there's still energy left. For people who struggle with midnight awakenings, those flickers can feel like full-on disruptions that break the flow of deep rest. Picture driving down a dark road with your gas tank nearly empty. Every mile feels risky, like the car could stall without warning. That's what the brain experiences when energy reserves drop to low during the night. The engine sputters, and suddenly you're awake, even though you didn't want to be. Some studies suggest that glycine may help maintain more stable energy levels during sleep, preventing those abrupt wake-up calls. It's not about knocking you out, it's about keeping the fuel flowing smoothly. Think of glycine as a quiet mechanic working behind the scenes, making sure the tank never dips too low. By keeping ATP levels steadier, it gives the brain fewer reasons to flip the switch at 3 a.m., and while no supplement is a magic cure, combining this support with better sleep habits can transform those nightly road trips from bumpy and unpredictable into smooth, uninterrupted rides. But energy is only half the story. What about the emotions that seem to hijack the night when stress lingers past bedtime? That's what glycine can do for the nervous system at night. It doesn't erase the problem, but it lowers the sting, giving the body a chance to slide back into rest. Everyone's felt it. The argument that seemed small during the day suddenly feels massive at 3 a.m. The email you forgot to answer, the bill you still need to pay, the words you wish you hadn't said, they all echo louder in the stillness of night. Cortisol, the stress hormone, tends to spike when these thoughts sneak in, keeping the mind on high alert. For those living with early morning insomnia, it's like the brain chooses that very hour to unpack the heaviest suitcase of emotions. What makes it worse is that the body responds as if those worries are threats. Heart rate rises, muscles tense, and the cycle of wakefulness deepens. But research suggests that glycine may buffer this stress response. Imagine putting a pillow between yourself and a hard wall. You'll still feel the pressure, but the impact is softened. Here's the twist. The more someone resists these thoughts, the louder they become. It's like trying not to think about a pink elephant. Suddenly, it's all you see. The key is creating space for calm before sleep ever starts, dimmed lights, slow breathing, and habits that tell the brain it's safe to rest now. Combined with that extra support from glycine, even nights marked by anxiety can shift towards something gentler. And once we know how to soften emotions, the next step is learning how to put this into practice in a simple, daily routine. So the big question is, how do you actually put all this into practice? Picture this scene. The lights are dim, the phone is set aside, and a warm mug rests in your hands. The taste is mild, almost sweet, and with every sip your body leans closer to calm. Paired with slow breathing or a short meditation, this becomes less about taking something and more about creating a moment of safety. The body thrives on signals, and rituals like these remind the brain that it's okay to shut down for the night. When it comes to nighttime insomnia, theory is helpful, but practice changes everything. Glycine works best when paired with a calm routine, and the good news is, it's simple. Research suggests a minimum of 3 grams is effective, taken about an hour before bed. That's a teaspoon stirred into water or blended into a warm nighttime drink. It's not a complicated ritual, but rather a gentle nudge that signals the body it's time to rest. And here's where it all connects. Glycine may set the stage, but your habits write the script. Choosing low light instead of scrolling, steady breaths instead of rushing thoughts, and that small scoop of glycine instead of late-night snacks all come together as part of a bigger system. This blend of science and routine can transform the night from a restless battleground into a place of renewal. So now you know waking up at 3 a.m. isn't some curse or random punishment. It's your body sending signals, stress hormones kicking into early, temperature shifts, energy dips, or even the mind replaying the day's emotions. But here's the real question. What are you going to do with this knowledge? Will you keep letting nighttime insomnia rob your nights, or will you finally test simple changes that could give you peace again? Imagine what your mornings would look like if you actually woke up refreshed. More patience, more focus, more energy to do what matters most. The science is there, the tools are simple: glycine, a calmer routine, dimmer lights, slower breaths. Nothing extreme, nothing impossible. The real shift happens when you decide that your nights deserve the same care you give your days. And now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever found yourself wide awake at 3 a.m., wondering why your mind just won't shut off? What's the strangest thought that's kept you up at night? Share it in the comments, I'll be reading. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss new videos that help you reclaim your nights and finally sleep the way you deserve. But here's the thing, understanding how glycine helps is just the first step. The next question is, where can you actually find it? What if I told you that some of the foods you already eat every day are packed with this amino acid? In the next video, I'll show you exactly where glycine hides in your diet, how supplements can fit in, and why it may boost not only your sleep but also your focus and memory during the day. Click over there now, and let's keep building the path to better nights together.